What's going on, everybody? This is Greatest World Turf. If you are wondering, yes, I am wearing a do rag and a robe at what is it, four or something in the afternoon, 4:49 in the afternoon. Sometimes I do that. Uh, it is what it is. Earlier today, I was on Bleach Report on the Rams team stream. Came across a story, an article written by Mike Freeman. Posing the question, posing and sort of answering the question: Is there an NFL quarterback drought coming? I thought it was interesting because I had the same question myself. One of the topics that he touched on is the offenses that these new quarterbacks. Let me backtrack. Only 7 quarterbacks were drafted in this year's NFL draft, and that's the first time that's happened in over 60 years. I believe he said. If you want to read the article, it's on Bleacher Report. Mike Freeman wrote it. I'm pretty sure it's on everybody's team stream. It's probably on the NFL News stream. Um, yeah, so and that's crazy when you look at, you know, how everybody says the NFL is a pass happy league. This is a quarterbacks league. All the best, not all the best, all the biggest stars in the game are quarterbacks. Quarterback wins the NFL MVP almost every year. Uh, no matter no matter if a guy at another position was more deserving. Uh, and it's just really it's just really interesting when you look at that many quarterbacks. That few amount of quarterbacks, especially when you see the need that so many teams have at quarterback. I know a lot of a lot of people expected the Rams to draft a quarterback earlier than they did in the draft, and the guy that they drafted definitely wasn't the guy who everybody thought they were going to pick. But to me, my opinion on the reason why so few were drafted and the reason why the guys that are in the league now, the young guys that are why they're having such trouble is you have to look at the offenses that they're running in college and then the offenses that they're running in the NFL. In college, almost not almost a good portion of college teams run some form of spread no huddle pistol something. Even the teams that run even Wisconsin and Nebraska, I've even noticed that they run a lot of power football, but they do a lot of no huddle. Um, and what it does, what those what those offenses do is it really simplifies things for the quarterback by a lot of obviously you know the no huddle, the read option, one of the more famous plays now. Um, and it's defenses are so worried about the threat of a run, either from the running back or quarterback keeping it on a read option or uh, a receiver coming on a motion and taking it on an end around, that you can run play action off of those plays and really expose some holes in the defense. And there's a lot of big plays coming, so really you see a lot of strong arm quarterbacks, which guys who have a lot of deep accuracy that can make those throws, and those are the guys that are thriving in college. The problem that they run into is that when they come to the NFL, teams either the team that drafted them either doesn't run that offense, or if they do, they're having trouble running it. RG3, Robert Griffin III, in his first year, lit it up, had an amazing year, offensive rookie of the year, took a team that was hadn't been relevant really in years. It took them to the playoffs. Of course, he injured his knee in that game, which is a knee that had been injured, I believe, twice before, once before, twice before. Uh, and the next year when he came back, it was obvious he wasn't ready to come back, and defenses really exposed that because when there wasn't as much threat of him running, and he had to be a drop back passer. You saw his flaws in that part of his game. You saw his inability to read defenses. You saw problems with his deep ball accuracy, and things really just kind of unraveled. The relationship with his coach unraveled. The team. He was blaming teammates. It just turned into a bad situation. Ended up with Mike Shanahan not being the coach there anymore. Um, and again, it goes back to the offense that he ran in college. Uh, col- Most college quarterbacks aren't asked to look at defenses and pick them apart, piece by piece, looking at recognizing that a defense is running is in this coverage and saying checking to a play, looking at the receiver and saying, as Peyton Manning is famous for Omaha, and then receiver runs quick slant or so, whatever it is, and exposing holes, in zone defense and in man defenses, recognizing blitz. You just don't see that anymore. You see, in college, really, you see offenses hurrying up to the line, running a million plays, uh, a million plays a game. You know what I'm saying? Offenses are average. For an offense to average 40 points a game isn't. It's not all that. It's not all. It's not all that. It's like whatever. We did it last week. We'll do it before. We'll probably get higher. And it's great for the universities. It's great for them. They fill up their 90,000. 100,000, however many seats their stadium holds. They win a bunch of games. They win conference championships. They win bowl games. Bowl games. With the introduction of the college football playoff, bowl games don't mean as much. But you know what I'm saying. We win championships. We win. But when these quarterbacks get to the NFL, you see they struggle. Uh, and I'm not saying that colleges should stop running these spread offenses and start running what they run in the pros. That's they've got to do what's best for their program, just like NFL teams have to do what's best for their franchise. Uh, it's exciting. you know Everybody loves to see big plays. Everybody loves to see long touchdown passes and runs. Everybody loves to see 65 to 60 games. It's exciting. You know what I'm saying? It gets on Sports Center. But as we can see, I don't know why. Like, I have dogs out here, and like they cry. They start crying for no reason. I don't know why. Sometimes I wish somebody would just put them out of their misery. They're pretty old anyway. I'm sorry, I'm not Michael Vick. I recant that statement. Where was I? Still going. Close this window right quick. Where was I? But yeah, like I said, it's exciting. Uh, Gets fans involved. Gets fans really excited. Makes them love the game. Makes money for the program. But when these quarterbacks go to the NFL, you see that they have problems adjusting because they're having to almost, I'm not gonna say learn how to play a new position, but they're having to learn how to do things that they've never had to do before. And we can see, and I'm going to give you two examples of two quarterbacks that ran pro style offenses in college, and I'm going to two that are struggling that ran these spread no huddle read option type offenses in college. And those two of those guys are Andrew Luck, Russell Wilson, two of the best young quarterbacks in the league. Nobody's going to dispute me on that. They're both agile. They're both mobile. The thing in one of the big thing when Andrew Luck was getting drafted, is everybody was saying he ran the same 40 time as Cam Newton. His coach said a couple times, he's never been caught from behind in a game or in practice. So both of those guys, Russell Wilson obviously is a wizard at evading pressure, picking up yards. Just if you want to be amazed, just go type in Russell Wilson highlights and look how many times he, recognizes a blitzer coming and does his little spin move and then gets out of the pocket and either makes a throw down the field or picks up, 10, 15 yards. But they're both mobile, they're both agile, they both can pick up yards on the ground, but their bread is buttered through the air. Their bread, and part of it is because they've had experiences in those type of offenses. They both ran similar offenses to each other in college. Uh, Andrew Luck went to Stanford. They ran a lot of two tight end sets. Uh, One of the things they call the Hulk formation. He ran a lot of play action. He was under center for most of his time at Stanford. Russell Wilson, of course, transferred from NC State to Wisconsin. Ran a similar type of offense. He's under center, so they have experience with these type of offenses. Looking, reading defenses, making changes at the line of scrimmage, and really just picking defenses apart. And we can see that. I don't know. Do yourself a favor. Go back and look at the Super Bowl again. And really watch Russell Wilson. Watch where his ball placement is on some of those throws. Uh, I think we have to start. I think it's time for us to start for us to start thinking about, is Russell Wilson in that uh, elite tier echelon of NFL quarterbacks. I think it's time for us to start looking at that, examining that. I'm not saying he is. I'm not saying he's the best quarterback in the league. I think it's time, but and Andrew Luck, I put him in there too. He has problems in the playoffs, but then again, he doesn't have the defense Russell Wilson does. Anyway, uh, so you look at those guys and you look at the success they're having, and then I'm going to give uh, Cam Newton and Colin Kaepernick. I've already went over Robert Griffin III, so I'm not going to mention him. Cam Newton, Colin Kaepernick. They're both 6'5", 6'6". Both big, strong guys. Strong arms, can make almost every throw on the field. I watch Colin Kaepernick play uh, at least about 5 or 6 times every year, and I don't like the guy. Of course, I'm a St. Louis Rams fan. He plays for the 49ers. That's understandable. I don't like the guy, but I can't help but sometimes be wowed at some of the throws this dude makes, rolling to his left, and just chucking the ball downfield, and it gets there on a dime, and it's tight spiral and everything. He made one throw. Was it last? I think it was in the NFC Championship game where he was rolling to the right. He threw it off his back foot, threw a bullet to Anquan Bolden right in the back of the end zone where only he could catch it. I was like, wow. Cam Newton is another guy. A lot of people compare him to Ben Roethlisberger for how hard he is to take down in the pocket because of how big he is. I've never stood next to him, but everybody that says they have are impressed. I even heard somebody said he was a little scared. Cam Newton looks like a nice guy, though. I don't think he'd haul off and knock somebody out. But you look at of course Cam broke Peyton Manning's rookie record for passing yards in a season, and some of his struggles have to do with the team that he's on. That offensive line it is bad. I came across a stat not too long ago that since Peyton Manning, I mean, not Peyton Manning, since Cam Newton's been in the league, he's been sacked or hit uh, twice as many times as the next guy on that list. And anytime you have a quarterback, any quarterback is gonna have trouble when when uh when there's pressure in their face, and they seem to be always getting up off their back almost every play. So any quarterback is going to have a problem with it, but with a young quarterback, that's really not a good thing to do, because you want him to develop, and you want him, and if he's always either running for his life or on his back, he's obviously not getting the time he needs to develop. Uh, it's just taken a little bit, a couple years ago, Cam Newton had an MVP caliber season. A lot of people said. I agreed with that. This past season, Carolina won the NFC South. That's not that's not a that's not really something that they should be all too proud of. I think I think I think Sister Mary's girls team could have could have won the NFC South last year. I think at one point the Bucks were like 2-9, 3-9, and I think they were still mathematically in the hunt for the division. So that should tell you how bad the NFC South was last year. Um, but you see how those two guys, and there's a few others who I'm not going to get into. The trouble that they've had adjusting at the level is just because they're not used to running those types of offenses. They're just not used to. I'm sorry, something happened. They're just not used to running those types of offenses. Um, this is not to say that every quarterback that runs a pro style system in college is just automatically off top better. Uh, but I think that I usually think that they're just more NFL ready, and that's really the reason to me that Jameis Winston was the number one quarterback in this draft for me because he ran an NFL style system at Florida State. I don't think it's that he's any. I don't think it's that he's just so much more talented than Marcus Mariota. He's had to do a few things Marcus Mariota hasn't. And Bryce Petty and Brett Hundley and Garrett Grayson and Sean Mannion and a few others. It's not so for me. The reason why I would have put him at number one was because of that fact. Because he's, I'm not gonna say ready, but he's more ready because he's had more experience in that type of system. Uh, I was gonna say Jeff Fisher. I don't know why. Jimbo Fisher said he was one of the smartest quarterbacks he'd ever been around. Uh, like I said earlier, I'm not really drinking the Jameis Winston Kool Aid. I'm gonna make another video about that. It's not just because I'm a Miami fan. But yeah, like I said, you just really you really have to take a look at the systems that these guys are running, and they're just not being asked to do the things that teams used to ask quarterbacks to do. It's more like I said, it's more exciting, puts points up on the board, but when they get to the NFL, they tend to struggle more. There's exceptions to every rule, of course, but the rule is the rule, not the rule, but just quarterbacks just tend to have a harder time adjusting to the league when they come from those offense. This is Greatest Bro on Turf. You can like the video, subscribe to the channel, uh, follow me on Twitter at Greatest Bro LA. If you have anything that you want to say about what I said in this video, hit me up in the comment section or hit me up on Twitter, whichever one. If you disagree, if you thought I was horribly misinformed, uh, if you agree with it, whatever. If you want to ask why I'm wearing a do-rag and a robe, I've already said because I felt like it. My channel is like a restaurant. If you don't like what I'm serving, you can go somewhere else. No, I'm just playing around. Please don't go anywhere else. Please like the video and subscribe to the page. This is Greatest Bro on Turf, signing out.